Hello, everybody. I'm Rodimus2099. So, if you saw the thumbnail, I'm talking about origin story villains. Now, in origin story, let's distinguish two factors. One, characters like Black Widow, Black Panther, Hawkeye, many of those are extinguished from being intro characters. Because we already got introduced to them. We got their beginning, and we know where they started. We know how T'Challa started. He had to take up the Black Panther mantle after his father died and is in turn king of Wakanda. So we don't need to explore that in his solo movie. But with Iron Man, we know not much about him. He's just a billionaire. So in turn, in the movie, we had to get his start and his fire to become Iron Man, which ate up a lot of the time for a well-exposed villain. That's why many big villains are saved until sequel movies or the trilogy or the final episode of the trilogy, or even their big encounters, their non-origin story. Black Widow's getting her first movie, but it's not her origin story. We already know her origin well enough that they can breeze over it with this movie. So, honestly, that is a pretty good thing that we can get out of the way for a good villain like Taskmaster to spawn. That's why one of the best villains in history, Eric Killmonger, is known because he is one of those villains that breaks the mold. A lot of times, directors like to make villains that are similar to their enemies. Villains similar to their enemies. James Bond doesn't have a giant tiger-sized eating shark man as his villain. No, he has another spy. Because it's easier to make him more understandable and say, oh, he just wanted to ruin James Bond's name. Something like that. I know. Kind of weird to think that you can just take a villain from a very easy route to making them a pretty cool villain route. Villains like Yellow Jacket and John Rock are cheap, easy villains that are done just to fill because they are so similar. Yonrog, he's a part of the Kree. No need to explain a subspecies and sub-race of aliens on another world that we don't even know and introduce that whole world in a new cool segment. No, they don't need to do that because we already know he's a Kree. We get all of that origin stories from Captain Marvel. Ant-Man, he steals Hank Pym's technology. Where'd we get Hank Pym from? Oh, he already helped out Scott Lang in the earlier half of the movie. Easily done. Villains like those are easy to make and easy to just finish. Have them come in, have them die. But you can still craft a complex villain while having them be similar. Eric Killmonger, a perfect example. He has a reason, he has a motive, and he is scary. We see that he's all three of these. Because one, he has a motive. He wants to become king of Wakanda because Wakanda killed his dad. He grew up without a dad because of that. But we do see that he has a motive. That's his motive. But what we do see is that he's willing to do that. He kills Ulysses Claw, a man who helped him get into Wakanda. He killed him. Ba-ba-bam. You have your reason. That is why Eric Killmonger is a great villain. Let's talk about another one, Caecilius. We understand why. We don't even need him to tell us why. He wants unlimited life, unlimited power. He wants everything. So, him making a deal with Dormammu, a big other bad guy, who will be explained probably later, is a smart decision for him to make. And also makes him a pretty cool villain, a pretty dangerous villain. We see him in the beginning do something scary, chop off someone's head. When you have a villain who has a motive and is also scary, it also really does make it better. Emperor Palpatine. Let's talk about him. Emperor Palpatine. And the Rise of Skywalker. We're going to be talking about him in the Rise of Skywalker only because he's a pretty complex villain in all of it. In it, he was shoved in what feels like at the last moment. He wasn't even hinted at the previous two movies. So, yeah. But we find out that he's alive, and he wants Rey to kill him so that he can become unlimited power and keep the Sith alive. But what do the Sith want? really, that's something that I've always wondered. Do they just want to watch the world burn for fun, or if so, why don't they say that it's fun to do the Sith stuff? They don't explore that. In turn, you have a really kind of emotive villain, but who's not super scary. But Emperor Palpatine does become scary because of multiple episodes of him. Let's talk about another villain from Star Wars, Kylo Ren. We see him, he kills his own dad, and yeah, you'd think that's a pretty scary villain. The thing is, his motive is clear. He wants to kill the Jedi, because of course, he's angry, he's upset, and he's upset by Luke Skywalker. Alright. Okay. And then he decides to do the thing, in which case he decides to fight Rey, and then he continues to fight Rey, and he loses his bounds because he is not a scary villain. He has moments that J.J. Abrams probably thought was so scary, and oh my god, it's so scary. But killing your father doesn't mean that you're scary. It means that you're willing to let go. And honestly, we could have seen him be more scary by just ways of brute attacking, by just not being, by being relentless and stuff like that. But really, we don't see that all that much. Honestly, Kylo Ren is a perfect example of what not to do with a villain, because you can make such a cooler villain from just fixing him a little bit. But, alright. Now, most times with movies, you need to make a clear one to A to B, and maybe even jut it from A to B to C. Avengers Endgame has A, B, C. They have to find Thanos. They find out that Thanos doesn't have the stones. They have to find the stones. Now that they have the stones, they have to snap. And then they find that Thanos is back. Done. That's 3 objectives that they have to do. And it's a MacGuffin quest. Stuff like The Labyrinth, a perfect movie, where a girl is sucked out to a different world. They can explore this world a little more, but it is just a labyrinth with at the center the Goblin King, the main villain, who is explored very well. And then he has the baby that she wants, so she has to go get it. Then she has to fight. There's a clear A, B. She doesn't have to go like Rise of Skywalker, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. If I broke down Rise of Skywalker, that would be 10 minutes in itself. Honestly, if you are making stop motions or any type of film, make a clear point, finish that point, and then you can start working on another. Don't do what Rise of Skywalker did, where it was like, alright, we're going to go to A, then to C, then back to D, then from B to D, then... Don't do that. Make it simple, make it clear. Make a concise story. Because if you have a simple and concise story that people can understand, you can in turn make scarier, better villains that you won't see in many movies. I hope that you enjoyed this new style of video that I've been doing, sort of Rodimus Rants mixed with film school, mixed with just general fun stuff from Marvel. So, I'll see you in the next video where I do something else. Who knows what I'm gonna do? I don't know, because I don't have a plan. Anyway, okay. If you do want to become a part of, if you do want a, if you want to do any lines for me in the Taskmaster review, I'm not gonna link it because I want to make sure that whoever does this is willing to like stick around and be a part of this series for maybe multiple episodes. But there's 3 characters that I need just for fun. Even though I could do all of them just fine. But I'm fine with having you guys do so. Alright, so they're in the description of that video. Go check it out. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.